The Bigsby, tremolo arm, wiggle stick, vibrato, whammy bar, wang bar. Whatever you want to call it, if you're into rockabilly or hollow body guitars, you probably had some experience with these. And I want to show you a few tricks to add to your whammy bar repertoire. We'll start with the classic Dwayne Eddy Peter Gunn. We'll start off pretty easy and we'll get a little harder. This one, let's start with the right hand rhythm. One longer note and two shorter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you got that, we're gonna depress with your left hand on that first note. You're gonna depress on the 1, release on the 2, and then hit your notes 3 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can go over the neck. It looks pretty cool on stage. It's a little unusual. You could do it one-handed. That's actually a little harder. And I think it looks cooler when you got your hand coming over there. You can use your right hand fingers to mute the other strings you don't need. The pitch is quite important, so we're just going down a semitone, so it's like going down one fret. Any more than that doesn't sound quite right, so, and you'll get used to how much you need to push on there. Try and use your ears, figure out what sounds good. You can get different springs to put in your Bigsby that can change how much pressure you need to put down. So if you find you're pushing down quite far and not a lot's happening, you could try getting a different spring. I think Reverend do a Bigsby spring that doesn't cost too much. You can change that yourself quite easily. There's your first trick. Let's try another one. For this next trick, we're going to look at a tune by The Cramps, Can Your Pussy Do the Dog? Okay, we're in the key of G. We're going to grab a few chords. Poison Ivy normally likes to grab this E-shaped bar chord, so we're going to be using that. If that's a little tricky for beginners, we could take the cowboy chords and have a similar effect. So we're going to be using the G, and it's a mix between a G and a G7, and we go up to a C, and we use a D. So, but the important part, we're going to be using this rhythm on the right hand. Technique wise, what I'm going to do is use my little finger, the pinky, you Americans like to say, and that's going to grab hold of the Bigsby bar here. And we're going to give it a wiggle as we're playing. So you'll see, you barely need to try to push down on there, because as you're playing with your right hand, the natural kind of movement of your hand pushing the pick down, it's going to be moving the wang bar. So you don't really need to think too much about it. When there's a little break there in the rhythm, you can give it a bit of a wiggle. So that's giving it that really bouncy, weird sound. If you wanted to try some simpler chords. Okay, so I just used the C7, the G, the G7 and a D7 there. That worked. All the tabs for all these tricks will be in the Patreon below, by the way. Okay, finally we're going to look at Mr. Brian Setzer. He does a lot of nice Bigsby stuff. I'm going to look at one trick, and it's from the tune Jade Idol, which is one of the lesser known Stray Cats tunes. So there's a nice little bit of wiggling all the way around, all the way through that tune. Basically, when you play a note, you can do a little down, up for a bit of texture there. But what I really like in this tune is towards the end of a bit, there's a stop and we play, he's picking out notes in the chord, but instead of playing it straight like that, after each note we are pressing the Bigsby down by a semitone. So it's not too difficult to do one at a time, but the tricky bit is getting to the next note. So you want to have that Bigsby back in sort of zero position before you hit the next note. So you got to mute it. I'm doing that by muting with my fingers as I go along on those strings, because you don't want to hear that return. See what I mean? So that's the trickiest one. You can also use that trick in reverse if you wanted to play the same thing and start lower and get higher. You just depress first and then pick. It's kind of tricky but fun to try out. There you go, there's your free Bigsby tricks. If you need tabs, they'll be in my Patreon below. Got loads more videos like this if you like your rockabilly, psychobilly, the Cramps, Stray Cats, whatever, all that stuff. Come and watch the Death Ray Cat channel. Thanks a lot, see you later.